Oh, I'm recording. Hi. I thought we could watch a video together. How are you doing? I figured anytime I had like any inspiration to record a video or talk about my thoughts, I would get out the recording setup and just kind of chat away. I got some notes and I would like to talk about how to make studying fun. I think studying doesn't have to be like super um painstaking and monotonous. I mean, after you reach a certain point, knowing basic things like anatomy and shading, I think it's time to have like some fun. So go ahead and get out your own Pinterest study and picture materials and all that jazz, and I guess follow along or listen to my thoughts on it. So here it goes. Um, I think that there's a couple ways of making studying fun. I don't think that you need to always draw from like pose, like like figure drawings and such. I think it's also fun sometimes to pause YouTube videos and just like draw normal people. You know what I'm saying? Like that first drawing that was there was a study I did of this dude from Emergency Intercom, which is a podcast that my sister likes to listen to. I don't even think I paused it. I think I just drew him and kind of pieced his poses together, which is something that has been kind of I wouldn't say difficult to do, but it's definitely a challenge. I don't, wouldn't blame me if you thought so. Let's move this down a bit. Yeah. So yeah, there's a couple things. I think you can take your own reference as well. Like if you need, if you wanted to draw something from like a memory of yours, or if you needed a specific pose or gesture that you can't seem to find. I think also it's fun to find a photo and make up a story or like what happens next in that photo. For example, I actually was inspired by a cosplay photo I saw of this girl who was dressed as Chun-Li, and she was like, I guess, talking to like a normal dude and just like hanging out around like a shop. And then I was like, oh, that would be so interesting. What if Chun-Li worked at a ramen shop and just like kind of had some sort of like mundane storyline, but like what would happen next? And I kind of like wrote that based off of a photo that I had seen. So it ended up being like a test for testing out my workflow and like seeing what would work for a webcomic. So that's definitely something I highly recommend, especially if you're interested in story art or storyboard arts or comic making. Definitely highly recommend that. Another fun thing to do is to pick a color palette that's completely outside of your normal palette or outside of the natural occurring palette in the photo. I'm sorry if you can hear my Discord. I think I forgot to turn off notifications from a new server I just joined. But anyways, so looks like I'm adding some fun color gradient maps, and looks like I found some different tones and stuff like that, and I think I'm going in and like sprucing up some stuff I don't see. Oh yeah, that shoulder. Okay, cool. So making a palette outside of the photo or using something that you don't normally use is pretty fun as well to figure out how the color values work together. Also, what I do is I have like a secret Pinterest board and I save like some candid photos that I find, or like I take screenshots from like YouTube videos of like people who have like interesting poses or like interesting body shapes. So I could use for later, and then whenever I have art block, I can go dig through and see if one of those speaks to me. And I think it's just nice to have like an accumulation of stuff that you are able to use whenever you don't know what to draw, or like you need reference, you know. So, oh, another fun thing is to go down a Pinterest rabbit hole and just keep clicking and seeing what is suggested to you. And type in like random things, or type in things in different languages. Like I sometimes type in stuff in Japanese to see like what comes up on their servers, and I'm sure this is possibly possible with the VPN, but I haven't tried it out. But anyways, just figure out creative ways to see images that you don't normally see, which also links to another point I would like to say, which is never grab a reference from Google Images. I think that's the last place to look. I mean, if you need like a quick idea of something, then sure, it's fine. Or if you're like reading a script and it says they have a grimace, like, and you're like, what the heck would a grimace look like? And then you can look that up and say, oh, okay, so this is unanimously the look of a grimace on a face, right? That's fine, I suppose. However, if you're trying to be creative, I highly recommend that you don't use Google Images. I think we're coming towards the end of this recording. Who knows? We'll find out. Also, highly suggest to only draw things that interest you. I wouldn't say like, oh, you know, don't expand your mind, or don't, you know, be creative. I'm just saying follow wherever your instincts are going, and if you just want to like draw a bunch of like cute girls or a bunch of sexy men, then go ahead and do it, bro. You know what I mean? Like, don't deny yourself, because this should be fun. I think studying can be fun, and there's always ways to like go outside of what you normally do and try to figure out how to make it fun. I think that's part of the challenge of it too, you know, that makes it exciting. So, you know, move on when it gets boring, and feel free to stick with it and render the shit out of something if it really is speaking to you. I also have a couple more notes as this drawing is wrapping up. I think it's also fun to use the pose that you see and draw another character inside of that. So like insert your characters or fan art of someone else into a pose. And also another tip is to use the pose that you see in the photo and put them in another style. So instead of like just trying to draw realistically or trying to draw in your own personal style, you can like try to figure out, how would Shane Glines draw this? How would Mike Mignola draw this? You know, like, how would TB Choi draw this if she saw this picture? I think it's cool to be able to have like a reference point with photos, and then be able to challenge yourself and see how someone else would do it. I think those are all really good exercises, and I hope that this has been helpful a little bit, some advice of what I do. And I would like to record a video live of me figuring this stuff out and talking you through the process. I do have a almost hour, or if not longer, video of me explaining my heads challenge. I drew a bunch of heads. I think I tried to get to 100 heads on my Patreon, and I recorded it like in March of 2021, so it's kind of like a few months old. But I've noticed like I made a lot of improvements because I pushed myself in different ways, and yet it was like a pinpoint of like comfort zone. Like, it was always heads, but it was going to change every time. It was going to change with the medium. It was going to change with the colors and methods, etc., etc. So feel free to go check that out on my Patreon if you're interested. And I'm really grateful that you checked this video out. Just keep drawing and stay creative, man. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.